Hello everyone, I'm Wendy Ross with the USTA and Harness Racing FanZone. Thank you for joining us for part one of Catching Up with Coleman, sponsored by Omega Alpha Equine, a feature about trainer Casie Coleman. We sat down with Casie in sunny Florida on her deck at Sunshine Meadows. Take a look as she talks about some of the best horses she has trained, including the one that made it all possible and a near-death experience that almost took her career. Enjoy.
Omega Alpha, your source for effective supplements through science since 1992, including Regeneric, Iotic 8, Hemex, Equine Liver Flush, Healthy Horse, Testose Boost, Minorec, Equine AntiFlam, and many more.
Hello everyone, Wendy Ross in beautiful Florida here. We're at Sunshine Meadows, joined by trainer Casie Coleman and her famous dog, Chub. Casie, so glad to have you with us today. How's it going?
Very good. Thanks for having me and doing this little segment, and Chubby's glad to be on air too.
Hi Chubby, we're so glad to have you. Casie, you have such a beautiful operation down here, but coming to Florida, this is the place to be. It's beautiful down here. What makes you decide to come back every year, and how long have you been doing this?
I think this is about my 7th to 8th year, I believe, and the first year I decided to do it just simply, we had a bad winter in Toronto, frozen tracks, a lot of snow, a lot of ice. My horses didn't get ready quite the way. I had a bad season with my babies that year, and I said, we got to change something up.
Now, you've done some big things in the U.S. Let's take a walk back to 2012 when you won with your first Little Brown Jug with Michael's Power. How did that feel? And then you went on to win, I think, what, 3 other ones? Is that correct?
Yeah, we've won 3 jugs now. The first time doing it was just unbelievable. The year we took Michael down there, and he was an Ontario sire. Nobody heard of him. Nobody hardly heard of me. Nobody heard of Scott Zeron. I brought Scotty down and drove him there at the jug, and to win that in 2 heats, that was, I jumped right over the fence when he won. We were quite excited, but then just like the crowd at the jug, anybody that's been there, like 50,000 people, everybody screaming, roaring. I've never seen a live crowd like that ever, and they do it every year for the jug. That was just amazing, and we've been fortunate enough to win it 3 years now. The last 2 years I haven't had a horse good enough to go to the jug, and it really, I'm really praying we have something good enough this year, because I hate to miss that race. It's just, if I have anything that's competitive enough, we will definitely be at that race.
Now, speaking of a horse for the Little Brown Jug, we've watched Stag Party here. He trained today. He looks sensational. Take us through his 2-year-old year and how you think he's going to be coming back here at 3.
Yes, Stag was just, he was awesome. The only time I was disappointed with Stag, his final start of the season his final start he got scratched. He ended up having an abscessed foot and he got scratched out of the Breeders' Crown, so that was very disappointing. He's fine now, and that last start when he got beat in the super final, nobody knows this, but he actually I gave him a few weeks off after winning the Metro in 50. I gave him a few weeks off on purpose. Well, he ended up getting sick on me. Never been sick in his life, he got sick. I only got to train that horse once with about a month break, and he simply was short. Normally he comes in, he's not blowing, he holds his, when he won in 50, he couldn't blow out a match. He looked like he could go out again, go another heat. You want to come out? Get him a carrot. So I cannot wait till that horse's 3-year-old season. He's training back phenomenal, he's sound, he's healthy, he looks great. He's great on a half, so yeah, we're paying up the Little Brown Jug and I hope to be there. But if he can stay sound and healthy, that horse has all the tools of all the other good ones I've had. This guy, Merlin House, calls me up out of the blue. I told him the same thing. I said, I'm not who you're looking for. I'll help you. I said, my dad's a trainer. There's lots of these other, give him other options. He said, I want you to be my trainer and I want you to claim me a horse. One of the things I told him in the new owner seminar was I think that the trainer should own a piece of the horse so that you know for sure everything, like when they got their own skin in the game. And he said, pick me out something about 15,000 range, and what do you want to take, a quarter? Well, I don't have $1 to my name. I have no money. I knew the horse right away. Her name's Keep Her Flying. Me and Keep Her Flying, the first time I took her up to Georgian Downs the first time by myself. She went out of the 7-hole for me. I got a big blow-up picture of it at home.
You were driving?
I was driving.
Okay.
I was training her. I got a big blow-up, first horse I trained on my own. And I ended up losing this horse for $25,000 after we paid the 8 for her. I took that 25 and claimed 2 horses for like 10 range. It just snowballed. It just 2 went to 3, went to 4. I think me and Merlin got up to about 15 horses eventually, and then some new owners started asking to come into the barn, and before you know it, we were up to 130 horses range. Like, it seemed like it happened overnight. It was very, very quick how we snowballed. I stayed with Merlin probably 2 years with just him for quite a long time. He bought me everything. This guy bought me all my harnesses, my gear. He helped get me the truck and trailer, trunks, you name it, he did it for me. And I wouldn't be anybody without him. When I first retired her, I claimed her back, knew she's broke down. I want to claim her just to give her a home, and I decided to breed her, and I breed her to Intrepid Sealster. Baby comes out crooked like this, toes in, worse than anything you've ever seen. I now know a bit about breeding once this baby comes out, and she's horribly bred. Her breeding is horrible. So I see this baby, and I tell Merlin, I don't know what we're gonna do with it, like it can't race. And I end up giving it to my dad. I said, I don't even want to, I had a lot of horses then. I said, you take this horse. He didn't race it till probably late 3-year-old. She ended up, if you look her up, her name's Keeper's Destiny. She probably made around 900,000, I believe now, and I still own her also. She's actually a broodmare for me now, me and Merlin own her. I don't look anything into breeding. Obviously, yes, I have my favorite sires. Love Better's Delights, love American Ideals. I've had some good luck with some sports riders. I definitely have my favorite sires, but I will sometimes, when I'm done buying all my babies, some of my owners will be like, we don't understand what you were looking for at all. Like, it's such a different mix of what you bought, because I have a little bit of everything. And I said, anybody comes and looks down my stable, they're all pretty good size, good conformation. They don't usually toe in or toe out too much. Got to have a big throat, smart head, smart eye, good attitude. That's my main thing I'm looking for, and I spend a lot of time looking over babies. Like, I start months out looking at them at the farms, and by the time I bought one, I'll bet you I've seen it 10, 15 times, just going over and over and over. My first good horse that put me on the map it's got to be American Ideal, obviously. That's the first time I went to the States, and the only reason I got him, Mac Nickel, he called from Alberta. Actually, his brother was Ford Nickel. I met him in the bar at Flamborough, and he said, my brother wants to claim some horses. Will you help him out? So he put 100,000 in the claiming account, and it was between me and Billy Companion. We both had access to claim horses. I couldn't find anything. I kept being so picky, I couldn't find nothing. I'll never forget, he calls me one night. I'm at Mohawk, or Woodbine, to claim a horse named Flight 15. I was claiming him back. He was like a 15 claimer. Mac Nickel, have you found me anything yet? I said, no, but I said, watch this horse tonight. His name's Our Lucky Clean. He's a 3-year-old. It's like December. He still has allowance on him. He was in for 40. He goes for 60. First time claimer tonight. Just watch this horse, see what he's all about. I'm watching Flight 15 warm up for his trip. Our Lucky Clean's out on the track going first trip. He's going 2 trips that day. I said, Mac, watch this horse tonight. Mac's like, if you like him, just claim him. I'm like, it's $60,000. Right. I'm like, I don't know anything about him. I usually do all my research. I know everything about the horse. I know nothing about this horse. Just watch him tonight. It's first time claimer. We'll see what he's all about. Mac, again, you like him, just claim this horse. I loved him. They had no bandages on him, so I got to see his legs open. A lot of claimers cover their legs up. You can't see them. Because of Our Lucky Clean, Mac Nickel called me up. He said, I'm sending you a 2-year-old. His name's American Ideal. We want him to race those late closers at Mohawk. So he was paid in like those numbers of 2, like the Count B, right, the Snowshoe. We raced this horse. Mark McDonald's driving him. He went in like 51 or something just crazy in like January. The weather was horrible. Like, it was just stupid, the speed he went. And I've never had a baby at this time. And I'm like, what is this thing? So I called Mac Nickel, what's this horse staked into? Nothing. Alberta sires, like all these Alberta races. I'm like, this is the real deal. Like, we need to shut him down and stake him in the summer. We missed all the stakes. It was too late. We had to supplement all the races that horse raced. He pretty much supplemented most of them. This horse, like, I know he didn't make it to $1 million American Ideal. Anybody that looks him up, he had the 10-hole in the North American Cup, 10-hole in the Meadowlands Pace, 10-hole in the Breeders' Crown. He was in against a 3-horse entry with Rock and Roll Hanover, Cam's Fool, all those good pelling horses every time. Like, he was phenomenal, that horse. Oh, it was amazing. Like, he was in against 3 entries. Nobody knows me. I'm a Canadian driver. I had Mark McDonald, a Canadian trainer. Mark McDonald, my Canadian driver, taking him to the States, driving him. Nobody knows us. We're not getting no favors. His first crop of babies, I ended up buying Idyllic for $13,000, and that's his very first year of breeding. I think she made us about $1.5 million or something. So he's been very good to me. And obviously I love American Ideals, and so does the whole racing world. That's why. Yeah, his fee's now $10,000. His book's always sold. He's doing phenomenal, and it was because of him more people saw me on the stake scene, and I started buying more babies and going on through the babies.
Casie, we've talked about Sports Writer, Better Than Cheddar, Betting Line, Michael's Power, American Ideal, so many great horses. Which one would you say sticks out the most as you would say, that was my best horse, he was the horse?
Yeah, let's say I get that. I do get that question a lot, and it's so hard to fingerprint and like point them out. They all have their weaknesses and very good things. All of them are awesome. I got to say betting line though, because just betting line. Anybody that watched him, his 3-year-old year, the only start he got beat was his first start, and he wouldn't have been beat if it was his first start. Jonathan Drury did a great job conditioning that horse, getting him ready for me, and he gave him a trip he needed against aged horses. He got locked in till late, come flying late, and that's the only start he got beat. And every start that horse won, Dave Miller said it's scary to know how fast he could go. I believe 47 was about the fastest he went, and Dave said I was never out of horse at no point. He had a bunch of last quarters in 25 and a piece, and they just couldn't beat him. He was any size track, half mile, 5/8 mile track, it didn't matter. I would have loved to take him to Lexington, Kentucky and see what he could do over there, because I never did take him there, just because he had so much on his plate. I love Lexington, Kentucky, but he had so many races on his plate, I just simply couldn't ask even more of him to go there. So, and they're all gone to stud now, which big reason I can do I have 17 horses now, and the biggest reason I can do this, I take the winter off, I train colts, I don't do overnight races no more, and I've been lucky enough that I own a piece of Betting Line, I own a piece of Sports Writer, I own a piece of Better Than Cheddar. They're doing very well at stud.
I know the big story was that the owners of McWicked, the year that he had, and I knew when we spoke at Breeders' Crown how special he was to you. The fact that you had him as a young horse and now he's come on to just be this great age horse for you as well. But the owners have decided not to put him out to stud. They're going to race him again in 2019. What's that mean to you?
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I know he's 8 now, so like he keeps getting older, but saying that the way McWicked ended his season, he was as good as his last start of the season there at the Meadowlands as he was all year. Like he's sound, sharp, strong. Like I can't wait to race him again this year, because I don't see why he won't be just as good as last year, even though he's older. I believe it was 6 different farms called from all over the place. They wanted him to go to stud now. And Ed, I don't believe he called one of them back. They kept calling me and contacting me. They wanted Ed's phone number. I kept giving Ed all the messages, and Ed said, when I'm ready, I'm ready. So I told him what I thought his best options were. I just assumed he would go to stud, because I know he can win every race there is next season. He will not make the same amount of money he would have made if he goes to stud. His answer to me was, by the time he has kids racing on the track, I might be dead by the time he has kids racing on the track, he said to me. And he said, let's race.
Now, going back to, through all the success you've had, as we're sitting here on the deck, you know, it's a beautiful day, as we said, but tell us, there was a story, there was something that happened when you were about 19 years old. Tell us about the accident that you almost didn't make it and you could not be sitting here today.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. Back, I was around 19, I was at Sandown Raceway, I was working for Billy Davis, and Billy taught me a lot also. He's a great driver and trainer. I learned so much off that man. And I had my own horse on the side, so I remember after the races, it was like a Friday afternoon, I believe, and Friday or Saturday, I was putting him away. It was hot. Outside barns, it's hot, sun's coming down. I was heating up reducing, and I thought that the flame was just about out, and my reducing wasn't melted yet. So I go looking for the little bottle, can't find it. I see a gallon sitting there, and stupid me grabs a gallon of alcohol, goes to pour a little more on it to make this stuff keep melting with the flame, and it was a blue flame because the sun, it actually was a higher flame. I didn't know it. I poured a little bit of alcohol on. While the gallon just came up, the gallon exploded, and my whole arm here, both my legs, 22% of my body got burnt. Whatever wasn't burnt on my body was basically used as skin grafting sites, donor sites. I was in intensive care for, I think it was about 6 months or so that I was in intensive care. I was on tube feeds, IVs. Billy Davis come flying around in his van. I remember him getting people to help me. I couldn't even stand up and getting people to put me in the van. I remember everybody fighting, saying, wait for the ambulance, don't touch her. Everybody didn't know what to do with me. And he decided, nope, I'm taking her. And I remember he was driving like a wild man, and the doctors did tell me once it was all said and done, they said, we don't ever recommend anybody not waiting for an ambulance. You don't do that. But they told me, they said, you wouldn't have made it. I was also told that I would never be around a horse for at least 2 years. They said until I take these off, the risk of infection was so high, they said no barn, no horses for a minimum 2 years. The day my mom picked me up from the Victoria Hospital, my horse was racing at Sandown Raceway. We went to the track, we watched my horse race before we got on the ferry boat to go home. We went home, the next day I wake up, I'm not supposed to drive. I got to keep my legs elevated as soon as I put them down for more than a few minutes, just the blood flowing. It wasn't fun. And I couldn't find my truck keys anywhere. I finally find them. I drove into the barn, and my parents were so mad, and it hurt getting there because just having your legs down, I couldn't stay away, and my parents were fighting with me saying, you can't be here, the infection. I basically told them I'd rather die than spend 2 years not in the barn. I'm going to be in the barn. my parents made a bench where I would sit like this with my legs up because I couldn't have them down, and I would just do whatever I could like this. I would roll bandages, I would do whatever I could do, and I could walk for like 5 minutes, then I'd have to elevate them again because it hurt so much. And I was even getting back into the jogger and just putting my legs up on so they're straight instead of down. And I said, you guys got to get used to this because I'm staying in the barn. I'm not going to stay at home and do nothing. And we made it.
My question is this: do we still heat the reducing?
100%, yeah. People think I'm crazy, but I think it works. And I've had a lot of people work for me over the years, and day before the race, I heat reducing, and people think a lot of people just use it on hoofs, and they think I'm nuts to put it on their skin. I do their feet, hocks, knees, stifles, and every horse gets it done the day before their race, and it's been part of my program since I'm a kid. I learned it through Billy Davis, and I've never stopped doing it.